Hi, and welcome to episode 8 of Homeopathy Simplified, a podcast, and a vlog, YouTube video series. And I'm just going to reintroduce myself. I first learned about homeopathy through my father. His name was John DeMonte, and he was one of the key teachers of homeopathy's resurgence during the 60s and 70s. And I was very fortunate to study through his students, and I feel, as I've said always, a strong connection to his career. I also, in my career as a homeopath, became a Bowen therapist, and I developed a practice focusing on chronic pain and disease. And now, after 27 years, I've come full circle, and I really want to share my knowledge. And I've made a purpose of teaching a course that is the one I wished I'd had in the very beginning of my career. So this course that Homeopathy Simplified touches on is really created to make the complex simple and shine a path through a forest of ideas and misconceptions about homeopathy. So here's a picture of my father, John Andre DeMonte. That's a bit blurry, actually. I apologize. Anyway, he was a very, very interesting man. He was, of course, a practicing homeopath, a teacher, and an esoteric. He was a druid and used radionics devices and all sorts of very interesting things. One of his key tools was called the Lucia color test, and he used to graph from that in conjunction and come up with the radionics treatments for his patients. But more than that, he was what we call a classical homeopath. He gave one remedy at a time. So that's a picture of my dad, and I'm very proud of him. So this episode is called How to Be a Confident Homeopathic Prescriber. And I just want to mention as well that if you've enjoyed the podcasts, then please consider following the link in the notes to receive updates and that sort of thing. And I will be touching on something else to follow up on as well. So let's get started. How to be a confident homeopathic prescriber. So confident is a good word. It means full of conviction, certain, confident of success, confident that conditions will improve. And how can we become confident is by understanding that there are 4 pillars that support a reliable remedy selection. Now, these pillars are actually made up of symptoms, and our task as a homeopath is to use only the symptoms of the illness of the patient, meaning what has changed since becoming ill. And one of the falsities of homeopathy is that we have learned in modern times to prescribe on the character of a person. Fine, but make sure that it's the character that has changed in their state of illness. Now, that may be a very long-standing change, but nonetheless, make sure the symptoms you use are those of the patient's illness, not of their character. So let's look at these 4 pillars. And it's very, very basic. They're made up of the patient's story, and we'll go into the details of all these spheres, all of each pillar, in fact. So the patient's story is their story of their symptoms. What are called generalities. These are the characteristics of their symptoms. They're general functions of their body, and then any miscellaneous information, such as diagnostics and your observations. So our task is to use these symptoms, and let's go through it one by one. So in the patient's story, we get a variety of pieces of information. So here you'll see conditions. This is the state of the illness, such as fever. The sensation is how they feel in their symptom area or even in and of themselves. The location of the condition, such as the head or the right arm or the left hip or the upper abdomen or the throat, etc., or the skin for that matter. And then comes something very, very important in homeopathy. These are called modalities. These are those conditions that are made better or worse by factors, such as putting an ice pack on your head, such as taking a hot bath, such as lying down, such as being outside in the fresh air. So these are very, very important nuanced characteristics of the symptoms. And then we go to the cause and the sequence of the symptoms. So what was the original cause of the illness and how did it unfold? So for instance, you might have felt a sore throat and then a chill and then woke up in the morning unable to swallow, unable to talk. So that would be the sequence. And the cause may have been, getting caught in the rain, something very simple. Then we come to what are called the generalities. So these are just general effects upon the symptoms, such as the time. When does the symptom occur? What time of day or night? Is it sequential? Is it every night at 3 a.m.? Or is it every afternoon at 4 p.m.? Or is it every time waking up? How the weather affects a person, the temperature of the ambient temperature of the room, I should say. The weather, hot, warm, cold, rainy, humid. All of these are factors. How they position themselves, how they move themselves in order to accommodate their symptom or because of their symptom. And then their general sensitiveness to external impressions. This would mean company, having the family around, the kids around, having too much noise, having too much light. All of these things could be factors. And then we come to the actual functions of the body, the digestion, the sexual functions, the sleep, skin, mind, and so on. So, and then the final fourth pillar is your own anatomical survey. So you might observe certain characteristics to their skin disease or their posture or some other thing that you're measuring, the degree of pain, the intensity, the frequency, the duration. Those are factors. And then we come to the personal history of the person and the family history. These can give important clues to the condition that they're suffering. And then your observed objective symptoms. So again, this would be like a measure of intensity, a range of motion, a temperature, etc., or even any modern scans of X-rays, CT scans, blood work, etc. So those four pillars are what we would base a complete case taking on. We would want to get information on the symptoms in all these spheres. Now, in wanting to do that, we don't always get all columns of these pillars satisfied. We don't get sometimes enough information, but we get enough if we dig enough, if we ask the right questions. And that comes to how do we go about that? I've learned to use a checklist, and a checklist is a simple sheet of questions about those four pillars, and it gives me an opening into the case that I'll be taking. And I've written here the checklist I use, and I will share soon. Actually, I'm going to be giving a webinar on this subject. It's very simple and looks quite ordinary. And it's actually so simple, it just would fit into the intake of any practice, whether you're a massage therapist, whether you're investigating your kid's cold or cough, whether you're treating chronic illness such as Parkinson's and autoimmune conditions. you would use this checklist and it would open the door to many, many answers. And just as a pilot goes through a pre-takeoff routine using a checklist, they make sure all systems are fully functional. And if you want to be a homeopath that is efficient and timely, using a checklist simplifies the process of choosing a remedy quickly and reliably. So I'll be offering a webinar class on the method for saving time in the process of homeopathic prescribing. So that webinar you do need to register for, and it's entitled How to Become a Reliable Homeopathic User. It's actually not, that's not quite the title. You'll see it if you follow the link. So I'll just spell it out because some people are listening. It is in the show notes. So homeopathysimplified.com/June, the month, hyphen 2024 hyphen class. That would be the URL. And if you go there, you just register and you'll get the Zoom link and the date, which is going to be very soon, June 11th. So that's actually a week from now, and I've got a lot of work to do to get the word out on that. So please do share the link if you know anyone who would like to learn more. So thanks so much. I really enjoyed doing these, so do give me some feedback, and be sure to follow for more episodes. Thanks a lot.